Hello, hello, hello again, and welcome to another episode of Your Deep Life for Christian Women with me, your host, Barbara Chambers. I'm so grateful to have you with us and with me on another podcast, and we are starting a new season. This season, we're talking about beauty, faith, and identity. Again, we'll have a host of different women coming through and sharing from their hearts, and I hope that you will participate in every episode. Today, I am honored to have with me Tricia Walters, an original, brilliant, awesome, will make you glow makeup artist. She's been in the business for 7 years. She's a child of God, loves the Lord. And she is also known as Tricia the Eyebrow Whisperer. And I hope we can get into that later. Tricia, welcome. And thank you for joining the podcast today. How are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell me why they call you the Eyebrow Whisperer. I'm curious.
Okay. Well, I've a self-taught makeup artist now
Mhm.
for about 7 years. It's something that found me. I was really just looking for an out from the corporate 9 to 5 after maternity leave, and I didn't want to go back to work. Somebody introduced me to multi-level marketing, selling makeup. I
Oh.
didn't wear makeup. I just knew that other people wore makeup and it was something that would never die.
Mhm.
So I struggled trying to sell online, but what I found was how much I enjoyed seeing makeup being done on other people. So I
Mm.
started to take that in a little bit more, and I thought it would help me sell the makeup if I could explain something here or there. And then I became my own canvas. Um, and then next thing you know, I remember a friend of mine, we would do events trying to sell things, sell the makeup, but we would always try to get engaging events. So we do like an eyebrow workshop, um,
Right.
because I had a knack for just nailing people's eyebrows fitted for their face shape or framing their face appropriately. So at events, people would come to me and she would just boost me up and say, if it's about your eyebrows, she's the person to talk to. And we did an eyebrow event teaching people how to do their eyebrows. And then she's like, you're like the eyebrow whisperer. So that's how that stuck. Um, and she would be like, oh, you could be a makeup artist. I'm like, nobody's ever going to pay me to do makeup. And here we are.
Here you are. And I have experienced Tricia, and I must say, she's done my face 2 times now.
Yes.
Yeah, you've done my face 2 times, and I have never, ever been disappointed. She's absolutely brilliant. So, my friend,
Mhm.
makeup wasn't your thing, but you got into makeup. How has, over the 7 years, because there's been, as you know, this mass um, uprise in people demonstrating makeup on every social media platform, right? Everybody right now is a makeup artist, right? Makeup. And so, how has it transitioned? How has beauty transitioned? And I feel personally, it feels like a bit more superficial as opposed to people being authentic. So, how's it transitioned and changed for you over the last 7 years?
So when I started, I had hair
Mm,
and I always wore weaves because I always had patches of balding going on. It took a long time for me to get diagnosed, but that was before I got into selling makeup. But
mm,
there came a time where um, I got tired of always covering up. And I was like, how long am I going to do this? I never went to a hairdresser. A friend of mine would do my hair for me. And then I'm like, am I going to have to train my kids to do my hair? Because
mm,
I'm getting older and I don't like it wasn't anything that everybody knew about. And so there came a time when I was asked if I was going to shave my head online, and it was like, no. But I did a video, like a live, because it was like every long weekend, I would take the whole long weekend to do my hair. So I did a live, and the amount of, I just let it all out and just explained what was going on. And I'd never had a video go viral, but that
Yeah,
one did. The
it went
amount of
viral.
love and support that I got just from being honest about what I was hiding and how terrible I felt hiding it. And how I know God blessed me with some beautiful features, but I never felt comfortable, like, because I felt like I was hiding something, right? So I never felt fully honest in my skin. Um, and a couple months later, so that was like maybe a Thanksgiving
Mm.
weekend that I did that video, and that New Year's Eve, I think I cut it off. I just, I was always afraid. I didn't know what my head shape was going to be like. I didn't know how spotty or patchy my head would be. And after shaving, which was very emotional, um, I there's a picture you can see of me before and after. So when I shaved and then like barefaced with
Mm.
tears in my eyes and then with makeup on.
Oh.
And that became my accessory. I didn't need jewelry anymore. Makeup became an asset that I would use just to show who I really felt like. At that point, I had no business with hair, no wigs, no nothing. Just give me a hat or a turban to
Mhm.
make me feel warm enough. But I stood in the mirror long enough to know that anything that I didn't like, I was going to stand there until it passed. So
Mhm.
there was no more sitting on the fence with insecurities. It was just a done deal. I let it all go in that same day that I shaved my head, and I've just kind of been walking around unapologetically since then. So it's helped me not necessarily be more confident because I don't wear makeup every day.
Mhm.
It's really just an artistic outlet, and I truly love emphasizing people's natural features that they might not see are beautiful.
Mhm.
So I actually get more out of doing it on somebody else now than I do on myself. But I think it was like almost like a coming out party, like a
Mm.
deliverance in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So that's how it helped me just shed something that like I was holding on to since I was a young girl. And I just kind of live out loud in a very quiet, like I'm a timid kind of person. Like I'm introverted, but I'm very comfortable speaking
Mm.
uh, once I'm in a comfortable setting. So I'm very unapologetic about the fact that this is what I love to do. And there isn't any reason for anybody to not feel beautiful because we can't really always perceive the way God intended us to
Mm.
show up.
Mhm.
We have the worldly things kind of holding us down and building up walls of
Mm.
insecurity, lack of confidence. But that's not what God really had intended for us. So I can see things, I don't know, the spirit just kind of moves me sometimes, and I just know what to emphasize for people. And I can not put enough words into how good it makes me feel when
Mm.
when I show them the mirror and they're beside themselves with how they love the way they look.
Yeah, I think I remember that feeling very, very well.
Mhm.
I want to ask you, what was actually going on with your hair? Did you ever get it diagnosed?
Yeah, so I went to dermatologists all the time when I was younger. I would have like just really itchy spots that would burn.
Mm.
And I went to a naturopath years later, and he was like, "You have alopecia." So there's different kinds of alopecia, and this is CCCA alopecia. So it's like a scarring alopecia.
Mhm.
So at this point, I manage it. I have my new razor that I know how to use. And I there was never I knew once I shaved there was probably not going to be like a yearning for me to grow my hair back or anything. So I just made the plunge
Just
and here
did it and shaved
yeah.
it all off.
Yeah.
I loved what you said earlier about You sat in the mirror, you stood in front of the mirror until it all passed.
Yep.
What was going on there? What was actually happening when you were going through that transition from this to that?
So I remember it was like early in the morning, and I was trying to decide like what day during the holidays I was going to do my hair, and it took a couple of days. And then I just told my partner at the time, I was like, I need your razor. And so he helped me shave. But each time I'd walk through the house and I'd pass a mirror, I noticed I was trying to avoid looking, like I would just kind of glance. And
Mm,
then I just stood there. I was like, you're gonna stay here until you can stop avoiding it, because I don't know what you're, like, what are
mm,
you afraid of? This is you, the
mm,
same you. There's one thing that changed,
mm,
and you've eliminated one thing. So, like, you had no problem looking in the mirror yesterday with your turban, your head tie, or whatever on. So you're gonna
mm,
sit here until that like feelings pass. That
mm,
was one of the things I would one of my girlfriends told me, and it stuck with me. You have an uncomfortable feeling, it will pass. So I just sat there until the insecurity that made me want to run past the mirror in that moment went away. And then I'd pass again, and something was like, I don't want to look. Why don't you want to look? Just sit there and look
mm.
until you're comfortable.
What were
Just
you feeling?
it was just a lot of, it was a roller coaster of feelings. It wasn't just one feeling, it was just uncomfortable,
Mm.
very naked. And there's like no turning back, right?
Yeah, once that hair's cut, it's
Yeah.
cut. Yeah.
And I was never comfortable with a wig after. I tried, like, took pictures or something with it, but then I never wanted to be fiddling or insecure about it falling off. So
Mm.
I found turbans, and those were good for me.
What happened to your confidence after you shaved?
Um, I've never been like, I'm a very humble person, and it stayed that way.
Hmm.
I would hear people talk about being bald and having people snicker and make remarks, and I've never had that happen. I've only had people stop me and kind of give me praise and
Mm.
see how good it looks and how I'm rocking that bald head like nobody's business. So
Mm.
I literally just walk through the world a little bit more confident in just the knowing that, hair or no hair, I have intention being here. That's God's intention on putting me here. So he's not phased by whether I have hair or not. I have this journey, and I have to kind of show up with my chest out, knowing like this is a child of God just walking around here. So you
Mhm.
take it or leave it.
Yeah.
This is how I walk around. So I feel like I don't get any negativity towards me at all. Like nobody ever says, "Oh, look, she has something's wrong with her."
Mhm.
People are comfortable asking me, but it's very interesting because sometimes people don't even ask. They'll ask way later,
Mm.
right? Like they're just fine talking to me as is.
Yes.
I think it was a big awakening to me being a child of God. I felt like I was just kind of existing for a long time,
Mm.
never dreaming for anything, just bumbling from one instance to another, thinking this is the way life was. But then I started to recognize, no, there's a whole story that's already been written, and I have to discover it with my obedience.
Mm. And how did you go about doing that?
I started seeking God in different ways, like a lot more intentionally. So I
Mm.
grew up in church, but I was very rebellious in a sense.
Mm.
I didn't understand faith. I didn't understand. I was like, how do we know this is true? Right? And I just started saying, everything else I've been doing on my own recognizance is giving me nothing. So this has to be the truth. Let me go seek it. So I would go to an event here or there, um, and I would want to back out. So I remember going to one, I think it was called Praise and Pancake, and I wanted to back out and found out the organizer wanted to cancel, but then there was a connection made, and then there was another connection, and everybody was confirming something that I might have had some discernment about. So then I was like, that's just God. And that's just God. And then I found myself going even deeper.
Yeah.
And I took a coaching program called Know Your Identity in Christ. And that was very moving for me because it it didn't leave me figuring one thing out and then falling into the wilderness all over again and
Hmm.
scrambling, trying to figure it out and coming back. It was very guided and supportive. Like there was a
Hmm.
community of women of Christ that we just compounded on each other in confirming whatever God was saying. This is for real. This is who you are.
Yeah.
So what I couldn't see, they would confirm, this is what God is telling me about you.
Mm.
And it almost replicated when I shaved and had to look in the mirror and just stay there until I was comfortable.
Yeah.
And then it was like, now you have to see yourself the way God sees you. You can't really, you have to shed your flesh ways of looking at yourself because there's so many little things that come from your childhood traumas and so forth that have determined the way you're looking at it, but God wants to like have you let all of that go so you can see like I didn't like that people used to call me pretty when I was younger. I was very uncomfortable with it because I a lot of times I felt like people would assume there's something I wanted or there was an angle or an approach I was
Yeah.
trying to take to
Yes.
get something
Yes.
because but I was like, I don't even see what you see. I'm just me. And I was always torn about that, but it came to this point now where uh, I I like nobody makes themselves. So God chose to make me this way. And
Yes. Yeah.
why am I walking around unappreciative?
Mm.
Like I have to be grateful. I have to be grateful for this nose. I have to be grateful for these eyelids. I have to be grateful for this mouth that can talk.
Yeah.
There might be a slant on this. There's symmetry that is not symmetrical on my face, and I have to be grateful for it. So
Hmm.
that's the way it boosted my confidence because I know even everything that I may see as imperfection, that's how he made me perfectly.
Yes. Yeah. So we are perfectly imperfect.
Correct.
Oh, I love that. I love the fact that your identity, you found your identity when you came to Christ, and it was no longer. And so was the shaving of the hair before Christ or after Christ?
Before.
Before Christ. So coming to Christ, you found a new identity, even though you were finding yourself,
Yes.
um, and you were discovering who you were. You found a new identity in Christ that heightened
Yes.
your beauty. What has been the most telling transformation within you as a person with regards to how you see yourself and how you see your beauty?
I think just coming to the place where I was striving to get to know my father and know like how he wants me to show up.
Mm,
I think the presence that I walked with engaged me like in so connected me with so many different people
yeah.
on a spiritual level. Um, brought so many confirmations that he wants me to do something in a certain light that I may not have really trusted that that's what he wanted me to do. Um, and even meeting you, right? Like you
Mhm.
had very positive, uplifting words for me, and that was confirmation because there was things I was questioning, like, oh, like, are you really supposed to be doing this full time and so forth? And then I would hear my phone chime and you're an inquiry, right?
Mhm.
So it's been a confirmation that even every fumble that I make is part of the story, and it's all beauty. Like when we scrape our knees and we're falling forward a little closer to God's feet, right? So it's it's not all of the glorious, joyous parts. It's even the ugly parts.
Yes, yes.
So being able to embrace that and kind of walk taller, and also being an example of that to my kids.
Mm,
And I just kept going, and I just kept going. And there was more life events and more things that would happen that would just force me to surrender. And I had a choice, right? Like I could resist or
yes,
not.
yes.
But I realized there's no fighting this. Like this is the best place to fall.
Mm,
There's grace and there's glory, and there's one Father. So if I have to follow me, follow his feet. They says
yeah,
to lay it all
yeah.
at his feet, right? So this trying to carry everything for yourself, it's just been one thing after the other of here, I've got it. You're actually not carrying anything, Trisha. You're just supposed to follow my word and be obedient, and I'm going to show you what I have for you. So I just remember now that I can't even fathom what he has intended for me.
Mm,
So I have to be open. Sometimes it seems wild. Like, how's things gonna happen? What's the next step, right? Like, I've never been in such a position of obedience and surrender and obedience and surrender. Because he's truly like the word seems so um just stereotypical when you say God will never forsake you, but I just living proof. Like he will always provide. You
wow.
cannot see it coming,
Mhm.
and boom, something will be there to give you exactly what you need. And till the very last hour.
Amen. Amen. That is absolutely true that God is consistently, even when we're not sure how it's going to pan out, even when we can't see the way out, He is consistently on time. And it's about His timing, not our timing, right?
Right. Yes.
And don't we wish He was always on our time?
Yes.
But what I love about the Lord is that His timing comes in ways so unexpected,
Yeah.
um, but so sure, so strong, so powerfully, so confidently. It sets you straight.
Yeah. In
It
ways we could never have asked.
could never have asked, right? Exactly. So Trish, I want to ask that as a makeup artist, you're meeting with women, women of faith, different faiths, non-Christ, non-women of no faith.
Yep.
Um, how do you how are women all the same when it comes to beauty, or are there any sort of slight nuance differences depending on religion or faith, or are we all the same? We all got the same complexes about.
Yeah. I would say that I always notice there's little things people might be insecure about.
Mhm.
Not everybody's open, but I can like the spirit will I'm very fine and comfortable opening my mouth. If the spirit tells me to say something, I will say
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have very engaging conversations with clients all the time. There's people who are sitting there very quiet and it's almost awkward, and the spirit will tell me to say something, and then we have a beautiful conversation moving forward. Regardless of religion, I'm not, I don't hide mine. I walk around with a Jesus t-shirt almost all the time. Um, because I typically wear black and I have this Jesus t-shirt. So I have a sweatshirt that says God will do it. So I'm not shy about it.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think I've ever made anybody uncomfortable. If it's one thing, I'm very good at kind of finding that plane to match.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's very anxious, very upset, or very tense, I can bring them down to a nice calm level.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a natural thing. But everybody has their little insecurities, and I always try to make them feel good. So sometimes people will be like, I don't want a bold lip color. I don't like these lips. Be
Mm-hmm.
like, what is it you don't like about your lips? Oh, they're so big. So then I know somebody said something to this person or something from their childhood, and I will push them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's give you a bold lip and see how comfortable you might be with it. And in the end, 9 out of 10 times they like it. They like the push, right? And they'll see themselves a little different than they would have expected, but you'll see them looking a little bit more like this, and they keep looking in the mirror, and it's like, see, like that's God's beauty inside of you that you didn't even know you had. So I'm just gonna help you tap into it a little bit.
Wow. Yeah.
Everybody has a little thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they might be a little uncomfortable with, but I'm pretty good at connecting with it, whether they say it or not.
We mask, a lot of us use makeup as a mask of really showing what's going on the inside, right? And I'm very similar to you. I don't wear makeup every day. Um, and primarily I'm not a makeup artist, and I'll be honest, putting on makeup is a chore. It takes too long. I wish there was an easier way to do this. But for some people, it's a mask, it's a way of hiding. How do you connect to those deeper, for those women who, or what would you say to those women who are afraid to take it off? I mean, it takes a certain amount of boldness to shave your head, right?
Yeah,
And then to go around with no makeup.
yeah.
But these are women with hair, perhaps, but they have to cover themselves every day because they don't see their inner beauty.
Yeah, I've had people like that in my chair, and they end up very comfortable with. I make it a point to try to make you look like yourself,
Mm,
um, and not make the makeup make you look very different, just better,
mm,
right?
mm,
So I try to figure out where their insecurity lies, like why they feel they need the mask. I'm not uh I'm not overly assertive about asking the questions. I can kind of pick it out,
mhm,
read between the lines, but I will definitely, whatever they're saying, like their skin might be their insecurity. And I'll be like, but you have beautiful skin. And
mm,
they'll be like, really? And so I'll just continuously praise the thing that they might not feel comfortable with. Or I will play up something they didn't see. So
mm,
let's say they like a heavy coverage of foundation because they've
yeah,
had bad skin all their life, quote unquote. I'm gonna keep it light, but I'm gonna play up their eyes or their lips so
right.
that they can see them, like, stop looking at the thing you don't like
Let
and
me
stop masking that
accentuate,
thing and focus on
accentuate. Yeah,
something else that you never saw before because you've been so focused on hiding everything else.
yeah, yeah.
So I will just kind of pump them up a little bit and look at this and look at that, and then tell them to look at it from different angles. I'll
Mm,
show them. ways to take a selfie in front of natural light, because sometimes people don't even know how to take a picture properly
Mm.
to see themselves the way I see them.
Mm.
And then, you know, the best thing I can get is when somebody tells me they didn't wash off their makeup, right? Sounds so terrible, but they couldn't, or the messages, it's like I couldn't stop looking at myself. No,
Mm.
that's, or the compliments they got. And there's usually a difference. Sometimes people come really tight, um, just tension
Mhm.
when they sit down, and when they leave, they're bouncing.
Mhm.
And like I even remember, like some people are comfortable in their skin, but they don't realize how much more comfortable they are when they see themselves amplified. And I had a lady come to me for her birthday, and she was not in a good mood, very scared. She's had a bad incident with someone doing her makeup. They made her look like what she said, a raccoon.
Oh.
She made the best video prancing around her house. Look at me by the fireplace. Look at me over here, because she felt so good. And she's like, I felt so plain my last birthday because I didn't come to you. So I will find a way to just make that whatever boost I try to kind of
Mm.
instill in them,
Mm.
make it memorable, right? So that they want that boost again. And know
Mhm.
that it's not anything that I'm necessarily doing. I'm just showing you, it's just perspective, right? It's like when they say two people can be looking at a horse, one from the front, one from the back, and they're seeing two different things.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you're only seeing yourself from an insecure perspective, I'm going to show you yourself from a confident perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully, we can tip the scale a little bit.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I think that people obviously have those insecurities about themselves, and they come from a deeper place, wherever that might be, right? Um, you talked about earlier that you were very sort of shy
Mhm,
as a young child and you had your own insecurities.
mhm.
What were they and what was that like for you?
I was just all for as long as I can remember, just very shy. I didn't like talking to a lot of people. Um, And I grew up with two older boy cousins, and one was always like in trouble. So there was a lot of spotlight on him all the time. So I
Mm.
was just always in the background, just quiet. And I was afraid to break rules because he was always breaking rules, and I saw the consequences. And I was just like a little thick,
Okay.
big butt, and people would always talk about my butt. So I would always feel like they're not seeing me.
Okay.
I had an athletic build, but I didn't feel, I just wasn't comfortable in my skin per se. I
Mm.
didn't study it too much, but I just never liked that. People would always be like, oh, Trisha with the big butt, because that's not who I am, is what I would say,
Yeah.
right? Then I
Yeah.
got to a place where it's like, I'm just gonna love my body the way it is. I don't care what anybody says.
Hmm.
And took it from there. I was still very introverted, but I learned to feel more comfortable with the things I wore and
Mm.
just the way I carried myself. I just kind of let those things go. I cared a lot less about what people had to say,
Mm.
or what they weren't saying, or they were just looking. But it was just like I was always shy. I don't know why, but I just remember always like hanging on to my mother's leg and not wanting to go forward and say anything to somebody, even in schools, just being kind of quiet.
Mm. Our people can be so what's the word? I don't want to say mean, but they can be
Forward.
so unthoughtful about some of their comments, right? When they share comments about other people, right? Especially children, right?
Mhm.
My older sister, my younger sister was quite chubby as a child, and people will come, what, where's your fat, and
Yes.
you eat too much, and it's like, really, seriously, people, and the complexes, right, the insecurities that we get as a child, I had a lisp impediment. I still have a lisp impediment, right? Speech impediment. And I speak with a lisp, and I still do. And I remember as a young girl going to church, um, singing in the choir. And there would be this one person in our church that would sit on the front row. And as I'm singing, this person is putting out their tongue every 2 seconds like a snake
Mm.
because he's imitating the way I sing and basically mocking me because
Yeah,
I have this lisp. And I became very, very conscious about it. And it had it affected my identity around I thought I wasn't intelligent enough because I had this impediment, right?
right.
And it caused me to look at myself in a negative way. And it took a lot to overcome that. And a lot of that, again, like you finding your identity in Christ, and realize it's not what I say and how I say it. And then God reminded me, look, I chose Moses, and Moses, Moses had, see my lisp again.
Yeah,
Moses had a speech impediment just like me. He
yeah,
stuttered, right? But God was able to use him. And I think we need to recognize and understand that, as you said earlier, we
mm,
are imperfectly perfect or
yeah,
perfectly imperfect,
right.
whichever way you want to look at it, right? Um, but all our defects and things about us that we don't think is perfect to us is actually perfect to God. And isn't it a disservice
Yeah,
to
yeah,
God?
yeah. And that's where we have to recognize that we are not here to be self-serving.
No, yeah.
Here, and a lot of things about us, a lot of these imperfections, call it, are meant to be a testimony for somebody else to make
Mm-hmm.
a turn towards him. Or we're here to be shared and to share his glory, and we don't realize like he literally carved us out, each one specifically this way,
Mm.
on purpose,
Yeah,
like on purpose. So there's no flaw for us to judge it with,
yeah.
or negativity. Like we have to learn to let it go.
It's
Because,
owning it, right? It's letting
yeah,
go and just owning exactly who we are, how God has created us, how He's made us. And like here's another example for you, right? As a young girl, I was also quite outspoken, sometimes to the fault where Barbara hold it in, right? And as I got older, it became this thing that everybody had an angst about, right? They were just, oh gosh, she just annoys me the way she speaks sometimes, right? And so this thing became this burden, this weight that I thought people just didn't like me, or I needed to change so that I couldn't be this way because it upset everybody else. And I remember one day, I now go to a really wonderful church. I'm so grateful for Bethesda and Pastor Tricia Fraser. She's got the same name as you, actually. She
yes,
spoke on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, well, a few months ago, because this has been, yeah. She spoke
yeah,
on the podcast a few months ago, and she said something to me. She was like, why do you think God made you that way? I was like, I don't know. She goes, God never does anything by mistake.
no,
She goes, He made you that way for a because I was like, look, I'm going to apologize from now because sometimes I'm a bit outspoken and I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to upset anyone. I like it here. I like this church, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, no, Barbara. Own who you are, accept who you are, love who you are,
right.
even the thing that rubs everyone else up the wrong way, right? love you because that's exactly how God made you to be.
That's right.
So yeah, I hear you, my friend. I hear you. So what is it you're doing with your business? How are you growing? How are you evolving?
I am just finishing up some trainings to get a handle on refining the back end things to make things a little easier, less manual, and more automated. Just becoming more efficient that way. Ads so that I am seen in by the right people who need to see me.
Mhm,
And this year, I'm really going to try to focus on things I've been avoiding, which I've had to be honest about. So I love to teach about makeup, and
mhm,
I've wanted to do like a master class in person because I've done it online, but it's not the same thing. People really like being able to
mm,
see right in the same room. And I think I've had to admit the other day, I just have this insecurity that people won't show up, right? Um, but that has a lot to do with how I market.
mm,
It's not about, it's not a personal thing about people not liking me. Like I think there's just been an entanglement with insecurities that I wasn't addressing. So that's one of the, like, I've wanted to do one for around Mother's Day because
mm,
I've heard feedback from women who say their daughters or their nieces are into makeup and they don't even know what to tell them or how to help them buy it. Like they can't even encourage them because they know
mm,
nothing about it. So I'd
mm,
love to do something where it doesn't have to be mother and daughter. It can be, your godchild or whatever. And people come together, so they're learning, and it's different generations. The same thing, again, learning to love your face. And then I also would love to do something in a spiritual context, and it's like makeup and prayer or makeup and praise. So
mm.
there's some worship, but we're keeping the Holy Spirit in the room while we're learning about it. So I'm trying to ensure that I get that on the calendar and get some marketing done to promote it, to ensure that the right people are in the room. So that's what I'm working on now and just making sure that I show up. Like this to me is a gift.
Mhm.
I didn't go to school for it. So I can't sit on God's gift ungratefully. I have to share it. That's why he gave it to me, right?
Yeah.
So I have to be a little bit more forward and unapologetic about showing up in spaces and being like, I'm a makeup artist. How can I help?
Owning,
Yeah.
owning your identity of who you are.
Yes.
How are you pushing yourself out the way so that the true you can come out?
I'm trying to be a little bit more persistent and consistent. So there's a discipline there where life stuff always comes up.
Hmm.
So if I get things in the background taken care of,
Hmm.
I will still be showing up even if there's a pause. If I'm on vacation or whatever, I can still ensure that people aren't forgetting who I am and what I have available for them to be of service to them if needed, right? So I'm just kind of plugging away. Like every day I'm on a training or a course, just taking in the information. But now now it's the season to start flipping it and putting it into taking action. So I've just been in that learning curve for a little bit and I'm on the tail end of it. I
Right.
have like a call tomorrow with somebody.
Hmm.
She's a makeup artist just trying to guide other makeup artists to be six-figure makeup artists. So
Excellent.
something I kind of avoided for a long time,
Hmm.
but now I'm at the point where it's not just about taking in the lessons, it's taking the lessons and putting it forward and putting it out there.
Don't you feel like it's a season where God is saying, no longer can you keep doing what you're doing?
Mhm.
You have to now level it up,
Yeah,
right? You now need to come into alignment with where I'm taking you.
yeah,
And
because
you feeling the stretch?
Yeah, definitely. And there's doors that I would, let's say, like, the 9 to 5 door, right? Like, should I be going back to a 9 to 5? He is not opening that door for nothing. It's like, you haven't done what I asked you to do, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that that route. So,
Well, it's
yeah,
easy to go back, right? It's
but it makes no sense for it to be easy to go back to fulfill somebody else's dream
exactly.
and business endeavor when you have your own that God's really put on your path for you.
Yes.
You're It's just a mental shift, right? And recognizing that you're intended for this. Like, again, it's written for you. Just like
Mm.
it's written for the CEO over there, you're your CEO that he wants you to spearhead your business and put the same 9 to 5 effort in for you. So yeah, it's a new way of living. And I think last year was the mental shift was a
Yes.
new way of thinking, and now it's
Yeah.
a new way of living.
Yeah. You know what, Tricia, I totally, totally agree with you because I know last year for me, when I was transitioning from the 9 to 5 into this new space of working for myself, um, I hadn't really seen myself as a life coach, and I struggled to say, oh, I am a transitional, transformational life coach, right? And now I say it comfortably and it doesn't jar me in any way, but it took me such a long time to get there. And launching, even like this podcast, right? Launching this podcast, like, I've got my podcast developer production company saying, Barbara, where's the stuff? And I'm like, it's all in the file. Barbara, send it over.
You're just sitting on it,
I'm
right?
just sitting on it, right? And it's not because I hadn't done the work, but just exposing myself
Yes, with confidence.
with confidence,
Yeah,
exactly. And it was like God was saying, I'm here. I'm right here with you. You're not doing this on your own.
yeah,
Every step you take, I'm making a step with you. In fact, I've already gone ahead of you,
right. Lighting
right?
this.
I've already prepared the way for you.
Yeah,
So just move and watch God.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for you and what's coming your way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the season to make the move.
Yes, truly is the season to make the move. How can people find you if they want to work with Tricia Walters, the eyebrow whisperer, makeup artist extraordinaire?
Well, the easiest place is Instagram or
Hmm.
Facebook. So on Facebook, you'll find me under Tricia Walters. And then on Instagram, it's Tricia Brow Whisperer. And there's a link in the bio so that you can reach me from different angles. You can email me. There's a booking link. If you know exactly what you want, you can just
Hmm.
click the booking link, but just message me and I will love to communicate with anybody. Um, and that's the easiest way.
Well, I want to say thank you. I hope some of my listeners will reach out to you. If you're in the Toronto GTA area, that's where Tricia is based. Um, or if you're coming to Canada and you're looking for a makeup artist, hook her up, please, because she is brilliant. Um, but I want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being so transparent and so open. And I sincerely wish you every success in this new adventure. And when you're doing the training, please make sure you tell
Yes.
me and let me come along. I really want to
Yes.
support you as well. Definitely going to support you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure and an honor to be on your podcast. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you for all the connections you made with me because the spirit definitely had its way. And I'm very grateful to you. So I'm looking forward and definitely it's a season to like say it from my chest. Like, here it is, here's the event, here's the date, here's the time. we show up, please
Well, we
support.
will be looking for that, and people will be looking for that as well. So now you have no excuse because you put it out there, right? You just put it out there. People
Yes,
are going to expect that. So
yes.
thanks again, Tricia, and God bless you dearly.
Yes, thank you. Take care.